Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, and we're excited to be here. We got some friends joining us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's take a few questions in. We're going to talk about vulnerability on Friday. Jeremy Greenfield, see you on there. Christina, good to see you. Jakey, bicky. Everybody, welcome. Let's get Team David Meltzer. If you want to reach out to me for books, guides, exercises, training, anything I do, it's just david@dmeltzer.com. david@dmeltzer.com. We will pin my email and my text number there. Gigi, Mikey, Colleen, Nick, good to see everybody. I am dropping stuff like it's flies. There we go. Let's get the question rolling. Let me pin this in here. We got some great minds joining us today, which is exciting. 8:05 we'll take, here we go. What makes a good pitch? As I state on 2-Minute Drill, if you haven't tried out $50,000 of cash and prizes, please join us. Try out for 2-Minute Drill. You want to do that. But what makes a good pitch is, one, credibility. I was on a pitch today with a guy, and I don't think people realize that if they don't know something, they should just say, I don't know. Because the last thing you want to do when you're pitching is give up your credibility because you're making up, overselling, back-end selling, lying, cheating, whatever it may be, unintentionally sometimes. But once you lose your credibility, then the people, Mr. Tannenbaum is here. I'll be with you in 2 seconds, my brother. I saw you on there, and I'm excited to talk about the 33rd team, the experts in the sports field. Here we go. Couple questions, and then I'll get to Mike Tannenbaum from ESPN, Tulane law graduate and dear friend of mine, just a mensch, if you know what that means. Best quote you've heard recently: worry is wishing for what you don't want. Worrying is wishing for what you don't want. Sharon Lecter told me that. My best quote today was that our past designs us, not defines us. Our past designs us, not defines us. So a little Dave Meltzer quote this morning on Twitter. All right. Very good. Let's get a couple more questions and we'll get the real Mike Tannenbaum in here. That's ESPN's NFL front office insider, the mensch. You got it, Rach. He is amazing and patiently waiting for me. I'm not able to sustain in my business or in a job. What am I doing wrong? You're not enjoying the consistent, everyday, persistent pursuit of your potential. You're not seeing that you're happy where you're at. Lean into where you're at. Angle to where you want to be, utilizing the law of Goya. Get off your ass, but have faith that you're going to end up being somewhere better. If things are not working out for you, it's pushing you to something better, not stopping you from something great. David Nurse, happy Wednesday as well. Thank you for putting together the great mind crew on Friday with the unbelievable people that you had there. I'm so grateful to have been included in that Friday Mind Matter session of faith, by the way. So please reach out to me if you need help, if you feel lost or stuck. david@dmeltzer.com. It's pinned right here. Email and text number 949-298-2905. All right. We're going to have in 1 minute an incredible guest from ESPN and a dear friend, the incredible Mike Tannenbaum, old GM of the New York Jets. And how does one become one of your golden 1,000? Reach out to me if you want to be one of the 1,000, to empower 1,000, to empower 1,000, to simply be happy, to make more money, help more people, and have more fun. Just email me. It's right there. It's pinned below, david@dmeltzer.com. You can text me 949-298-2905. Anything you want. Books, signed, shipped. There's shipmeyourbook.com. I pay for shipping. I send it. I sign it. And we're there. What can you advise to the all teenager who's starting to hustle? Know your risk, know your time, and ask for help. And you got it right there. Take inventory. All right, here we go. Enough waiting for my man. I made him wait long enough. Here he is. The friend, the sports executive of the year, the incredible mensch. There he is. How did you get younger, man? What's going on?
Yeah, it's easy, Dave, when I'm sitting on this side of things and haven't made any mistakes or been criticized. So great to be with you, my friend.
Yeah, it must be weird for you to be able to comment on other people's performance because you spent so many years where everybody was hyper examining your performance all the time. And you and I both know when you're out in front, you're going to hear a lot of really nice things about you, and you're going to hear a lot of really not nice things about you. And the truth, usually for me at least, that lies somewhere in between. I do my best, but I certainly am not perfect, and make those mistakes. And it's so much fun when people that may be looking for those mistakes find them. But now, not only are you the expert, but you've brought in the experts of the experts with the 33rd team. And I am just dying to hear exactly who you have put together and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, Dave, first of all, it's great to be with you and just following you and seeing the traction you're getting. It's really no surprise because you're so authentic and you genuinely enjoy helping others. And it's just been great to watch. And it's really just, I'm so happy for your success and the growth that you've seen. It's very clear that you enjoy what you do.
Thank you. Well, vice versa, and I'm glad that you've been freed from the other side of the bench and put onto the front side because you're amazing at it, and I love your insight. And I still watch you, so this is awesome. I'm just so curious on, number one, what motivated you to start the 33rd team. I know you'd been delving into education earlier on, even when you were the GM of the Jets and helping people get aligned with the industry, but you've taken it to the next level now.
Yeah, so Dave, I've been very fortunate. It really combines a couple of my passions. So when my position with Miami ended, within a couple of weeks, I was just so lucky. ESPN was looking for an on-air GM. I was totally at the right place at the right time. And I knew that one of my initial responsibilities was going to be the draft. So I drove from Bristol, Connecticut to Amherst, Mass, where I went to an undergrad at UMass. And I've done a lot with the program, just helping younger students get involved with sports, and we have a scholarship. But anyway, I needed help, so I hired 3 really super smart grad students that were way smarter than me. We created this little database, and I was like, you know what? Like, there's something here. So that fall, UMass and I partnered, and a bunch of students got credit to work with me in terms of building a bigger database. And just, I said, look, we're going to be the 33rd team. So there's 32 NFL teams, but everything we do, punctuality, the reports, we are not fans. We are running this thing like we're a 33rd team. And what I quickly found was there was a ton of coaches between opportunities, and some early on were guys like Greg Schiano and Jim Caldwell, Eric Mangini. And we started this Zoom call, and I started draft meetings. And what's interesting, Dave, is this is pre-pandemic. And what happened was, I was telling my wife, I'm like, Michelle, like these meetings are really good. Like, we're not together, but you can do these things. They're pretty good. And then obviously, next thing you know, the world changes. And now we're up to, I'm proud to say, like, we have 10,000 people that get our newsletter 3 times a week. It's totally free. And what I found is, Dave, is we have 2 things. We have 2 E's. We have the experience of Wade Phillips and Eric Mangini and Joe Banner and Ray Farmer. And we have the energy of these rock star students. And every Wednesday we have a call and we talk about the news of the week for an hour. It's a very tightly scripted call. Like today we're going to, at 5 o'clock, talk about how would we handle Deshaun Watson? What do we think this is going to be with Dak Prescott? What happens at the combine? And then we produce our content and just put it out for the world for free to see and use. And hopefully that'll help others get to where they want to go one day.
It certainly will. And one of the things I'd love to discuss with you is, how do we capture more of that content, amplify it in a variety of different platforms? I know I'm having you here on IG, but I'm just thinking, man, imagine if you had a Tannenbaum 33rd team clubhouse where you brought in some of your think tank people, and we had hundreds of thousands of people that had access to real situational knowledge and experience, the stuff that you bring to ESPN so eloquently, and thought provoking. I think a lot of people think is a think tank is truly just about giving the answers. For me, being a part of so many think tanks, it's really about just provoking thought and opening the lines of communication and getting people to accelerate their creativity from the dummy tax that, guys like you and I have definitely paid, and we don't want the younger generation. Well, it's so funny. I forgot you went to UMass. That's where Dr. J went, right? Didn't he go to UMass and has one of the top sports programs in the country?
Dave, how about this? The 1975 University of Massachusetts starting backcourt was Julius Erving and Rick Pitino.
Oh my God. It's amazing. And you know, another thing that Tulane Law School had Dave Meltzer and Mike Tannenbaum. And we were on the JCC All-Star basketball team when we were 10.
That's exactly right.
We'd have been a great backcourt for the Maccabee games. We would have been awesome.
That's exactly right.
Um, you know, you're around this information so much. What are some of the key takeaways just recently? You know, whether it be about Deshaun Watson or J.J. Watt or whatever's going on in the NFL. You know, from this side of the bench, you know, what are some of the cool things that you've learned in the think tank? For example, last Wednesday.
Yeah, well, a couple things come to mind. You know, first of all, it's like hearing other people's, like you said, the dummy tax of like their real experiences. The people on these calls have like skinned their knees and talking about like holdouts or how do we handle. It's basically what happens is you hear about Tom Lewan dealing with a couple of really tough contract situations with Calvin Johnson in Detroit. You know, I talk about the pit in my stomach I had when Darrelle Revis, you know, really held out at the Jets. We had a great team, and I was scared to death, Dave, he was going to ruin the season. And like, okay, here's what the Houston Texans are actually thinking. There's the public, and here's like really what's going on. And to have this sort of like safe space on Zoom where you could just kind of let it out and say like, boy, like here's what they should be doing, or here's what they did, or it was really interesting. We had Wade Phillips go over the Buccaneers game plan to defend Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. It was fascinating because, you know, Wade's a Super Bowl champion. And basically it just was to get Wade's perspective on Todd's performance was really, really interesting.
Yeah, I know you guys don't want these jobs, but I'd love to have Mike Tannenbaum for my Chargers and Wade Phillips as my defensive coordinator. I think with the talent that the Chargers have, they maybe actually be able to go some distance with a few new perspectives in there. You know, talking about the Jets, you know, everybody obviously knows that you had spent an inordinate amount of time on the Jets. You know, in your perspective, what should they do for the quarterback position this year?
I think it's an easy decision. It's Zach Wilson at BYU. He's a much better player than Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold has a chance to be a good player, but Zach Wilson to me has a chance to be really special. Great athlete, can make all the throws, very accurate, and he, to me, long-term will be the better player. So if I'm the Jets, I want to get the highest ceiling I can, and that to me is Zach Wilson.
And last thing, too, before I let you go, obviously the pandemic's had a shift in the interaction of how we deal with the greatest sport on earth, the NFL and professional football. Gambling obviously has taken a front hold, the acceptance and regulations in all different states, as we'll see the interaction with not only the technology, but also the laws that'll allow us to have more polling, more betting, and more interaction. How is that going to affect showing up to the games when things open up from the pandemic? Are more people going to even trend to stay at home, or do you think there's going to be a rush like, you know, we haven't eaten in 2 years, so everyone's going to come out and want to see it in person?
Yeah, I think there is pent-up demand to get back. But I think when people go back, I think there's going to be a little bit of a new normal where and there's a wave coming from Europe with micro betting, and where I think when people go to games now, because everyone's on a device, I think what you're going to see is someone's going to go to a baseball game with $1,000 in their account, and throughout that game, they're going to bet on, is the next pitch a ball, a strike, is it hit, is it an error? And I think that's a way you're going to see a whole nother level of like experiential sort of like from a fan standpoint. It's just not about going to the game, but I do think there is a sense of real community that people are going to want to get back together. Living here in the South, like I think we're sort of kind of ahead of the Northeast part of the country, or even, you know, where you are, Dave, in California. And I think there is this expression of pent up demand. I am feeling that.
Yeah, me too. I see it in all aspects, especially because the Super Bowl is going to be here, and I'm really looking forward to actually get to seeing you in person during the Super Bowl. At least get our 15-minute sit down at the very least, if not watching you get honored for some philanthropic effort that you've done. One of the interesting, you started talking about the phones, I started thinking about Cuban years and years ago. You know, I was in the cell phone industry. I'd been, before I went to Lee Steinberg, the CEO of the world's first smartphone, which in 1999 was called a convergence device. It was a Microsoft Windows CE device. Anyway, Cuban said, we're not going to allow those in the games because it'll distract from the game. So I like to bring it up because we're all hypocrites. We all don't know what we don't know. But it's nice. I always say, if we can take the perspective and not take ourselves so seriously, but at least share our experience of what we have known and what we have learned, it can help us make better decisions in the future with that humility. Before here, last question, you're so humble. I mean, people may not or do not even know the background of all the places you've been and the impact you've had, not only on the field, but off of the field, including this man here gave the Tannehill support and everybody booed him. And now look at him. You're probably laughing your way to at least you got one right there for sure. How do you stay humble throughout, you know, both the big wins and the, you know, tremendous exposure when you're wrong? How do you stay humble in those situations?
You know, Dave, I'll just tell you, like, I've been so fortunate in my career to be around like what I would really consider truly great people, like my short list of greatness, like people like Curtis Martin, Steve Kerr. You know, I got a chance to represent Steve Kerr and do his contract with the Golden State Warriors. Like, that was an unbelievable experience. You know, guys like Bill Parcells, Jimmy Sexton, who is a great friend and a great agent. I see it with Mike Greenberg at ESPN. Like I see how kind they are to others, how humble they are. Like, I've been around true like titans, and they inspire me to be better. You know, Curtis Martin is a person I think about most days where, you know, he's, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I got to run two NFL teams, Dave. Like, that's, like, I'm very fortunate. I ran two NFL teams, and I feel like I have affirmative responsibilities to help others get to where they want to go as well.
And being on ESPN's not too shabby either. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to be a friend of yours. Anything I can do to be of service, as you know. And one more name for you, I know you know her as well, because we got to get the female representation there, is Sage Steele, who's a close friend, a dear friend, and one of the kindest people that I have met. And so are you and your whole family. Always so gracious when I come down to Florida. I look forward to seeing you, my friend. Please join me on more stuff. Let me know how I can be a help. You're the best ever. Where can people find you? And I know it's the real Tannenbaum, but where can they find the 33rd team? Sign up for the newsletter and the information.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm at Real Tannenbaum, and the website's called the33rdteam.com. If you just go on there, you can see it just to sign up for a completely free newsletter, and you truly get behind the scenes access of how decisions are made. And Dave, again, congratulations. Love to collaborate when you have the time to do so, and keep up the great work.
Vice versa, my friend. Go Green Wave. Take care, brother.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. The real Tannenbaum, the great man, the humble. As where we're from, we call him a mensch. If you don't know what a mensch is, look it up. MENSCH. That's whose picture you'll see right there. What a wonderful person. The 33rdteam.com, at Real Tannenbaum. If you don't catch him on ESPN, you can catch him all over. Talk about real knowledge. That's what I'm talking about. I'm blessed to have people like that in my life. And I know Justin's back there. We got to spend some time in Florida, and just treated so kind, with such kindness from his whole family and staff, by the way. I don't forget all the staff that helped us while we were there. Let's get some questions. I think Matt wanted to ask us a question if he's here. If not, let me take one question here. What's the best way to make passive recurring income online? There is no best way. There's multiple ways. And so what you need to do is, number one, figure out your timing and risk tolerance. Two, figure out your skills of what you're good at. Two, your knowledge of what and who, and your desire of what you want to do. And when you aggregate and take inventory of that and align it to see where it's synergistic and supplementary to not only your timing and risk tolerance, but the opportunities that exist online, you will find the answer to that question quite readily. Here we go. I see my friend Matt right here. He wanted to ask us a question. Great questions today, by the way. Thank you so much, Mike Tannenbaum. running two different teams, as he said, Miami Dolphins and, of course, the Jets. There he is. How are you, Matt?
I'm good, David. How are you?
It looks very cold where you're at. Is that true?
New York City.
That's not bad. I miss New York more than any city in the world, so I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful today, so I think it's getting a bit better, right?
Good. Has anyone told you look like Russell Crowe?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Better than I get John Lovitz and you get Russell Crowe. Where's the fairness? Where's the fairness in that?
Yeah. That's funny. That's great. That's great.
Oh, well, anyway, you're the founder of Dreams Aren't This Good. Love to hear a question, love to help you and get a little background on what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Stoked to be connected, been following like many people. But just the positivity, I think is, not to go on, but it's something that we're doing in our brand and trying to continue to kind of almost fight that uphill battle and like trying to inspire other people through a brand. And I think, my question, and I thought a lot on this, I'm navigating and leading a journey, right? And for the company and for the people around me, and kind of looking and trying to get insights. And the big thing that I thought on was basically for an emerging brand like ours, Dreams Aren't This Good. At some level, we've proven that, and this is applicable to any brand, right? Is we've proven we can move our product. I 100% believe we have the right brand ingredients, and every day we're experiencing and living that opportunity that we have. Thankfully we're in the right place and moving forward. But I see what's right in front of me every day, literally going into a store. We make chips and salsa, by the way, for anyone, for anyone watching.
I always say spice up your life with Dreams Aren't This Good.
Exactly. So kind of with that context, my real question is, what's the one main thing that you found is ultimately the difference in that brand seeing its true potential or not?
So I think it's the combination of segmentation with consistency. And let me explain why. So determinative upon whatever the marketing campaign you're looking at doing, and there may be multiple ones, some may be 10 days, some may be 10 weeks, some may be 10 months, and ultimately some campaigns and communications may be 10 years. Right. The biggest deterrent or resistant that brands feel is they don't understand exponential growth and compound interest. So their expectation is skewed when they're in the midst of a campaign, that they should have greater results sooner within the context of very short, midterm, and long-term marketing communication. So if you look at a 10-year overall communication and growth perspective that you may have, we don't get to 25% of where we think we will be until we're 90% of the time done. And so instead of being 50% of the way there at 50% of the time, and in a 10-year campaign, we should be 50% of the way there in 5 years, we're not even close. And we're not even 25 barely percent by 90%. So, within 8, months, years, whatever. Key to marketing and branding, especially now because we have such a low point of entry, a low cost of entry, and such a unfathomable size of a market that we can sell chips and salsa to, is that we have to stick to it every day and figure out ways not only to create content, but to capture, modify, amplify, and perpetuate it in more and more platforms, because it will accelerate that segmentation. It will accelerate the time frame and the results. And I think what I see most of all with really good brands like yours, right? How much better can you get than Dreams Aren't This Good, right? Dreams Aren't This Good. I say spice up your life with Dreams Aren't This Good. But, it's going to take time. And you heard my friend Mike Tannenbaum, right? He's been there with me when people were laughing at me, scoffing at me, asking me if I thought I was Tony Robbins, thinking I was Jesus Christ, trying to create a collective consciousness of goodness on earth of over 1 billion people. Nobody's laughing now. Most people are applauding now. And it took years. And when I met with Gary Vee 4 years ago to build my own brand, I told him 20 years, man. That's all I need. I'm 50 years old at the Super Bowl. 20 years, give me a chance, and people will know the positivity in 20 years. But because I did it the way that I'm explaining it to everyone, it's been 4 years and 2 months, and I'm a lot farther along than I thought I would be, but I keep the pressure on. And that's what you need to do as well. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome, man. Where can people find you? Because I love the brand. I know you're at DATG Cartel, right?
That's correct.
And it's dreamsaren'tthisgood.com. Are those the two places that everybody can find you, or are there other places as well?
No, those are the best two places, 100%.
Awesome. Well, we pinned it up there. That is a really important question. You see my email and my text number below. You feel free to reach out. I am happy to help you. You are on a great, purposeful journey, a compassionate capitalist. You're going to change some lives and fill some stomachs.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thanks for joining me, Matt.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Check it out. dreamsaren'tthisgood.com at DATG Cartel. You can check out Matt. He'll be right there. Matt Bennett. He is the founder of dreamsaren'tthisgood.com. Spice up your life with some chips and sauces. And they donate 5% of all of their to Hunger Free America, all types of different places. They're extremely, Girl Up is another place as well. All righty. We're moving and grooving this morning. Here we go. Melissa's here. They said, let me take one quick question, then I'll take Melissa. Thank you for your patience, Melissa. There's so many people in here that have these great things. Your past defines you, it doesn't define you. Oh, so you put a quote in there? You're trying to confuse me? All right, here we go. What's something new you've learned about Clubhouse? I think what I've learned about Clubhouse is that, the truth always comes out. So if you're on Clubhouse and you're overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, and cheating people, as quickly as people will come to you, they'll fall away or fire you from their lives. So try to be in pursuit of your truth, your potential, be there to be of service. It's supposed to be a community, a club, and it's not a sales platform. So do your best. Speaking of not being a sales platform, I give everyone my book for free. I sign it, pay for shipping, very transparent. Shipmeyourbook.com. I see it up there. Or just email me, David@Meltzer. Gigi, good to see you. The truth vibrates the fastest. That's one of my fine things. All right, Melissa, and it's Mashat, and she's the founder of Realign Coaching, which I love, reengineering, realigning, and her neuro-linguistic programming, and she is a master. And I want to get into some of the emotional things that she's learned over the years. Here she comes, there we go. Melissa, we got M&Ms. That's my favorite. All my girls and my children are M&Ms, just like this M&M. Hello, M&M.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for your patience.
Of course.
Plowing through these totally interesting people. Hopefully you got to hear some of them.
Absolutely. I love the questions. They're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, you and I are, I know you have Realign Coaching, but you and I are so aligned, we don't have to realign. I just wanted to have you on because I want people to share in a different mindset, different practices, different ways to see the same thing, to change their life, to get a deeper understanding of who they are and what they can do, how to find outside of them what's inside. And with your background in leadership, you seem to have a great reconciliation between the spiritual and pragmatic. And you have certain mechanisms that you use to reconcile how we can make a lot of money and help a lot of people and be happy, or I call have a lot of fun. So talk me through that engineering and realignment in your life of how you've transcended and transformed into that reconciliation.
Oh, I love that question. So I actually come from a theater and performing arts background. I grew up in Los Angeles. Performing in dance and musical theater was my life. And then I ended up in Las Vegas and ended up in real estate because I needed a real job. I needed to make money. I was tired of being broke. And I didn't know that I would naturally be a salesperson and good at real estate because it is work ethic and hustle. And I was used to having 5 jobs just to pay my bills. So I grew my real estate business very quickly, and I got kind of caught up in what you're supposed to be doing and what it should look like. And you want to run a successful business, this is the model you have to follow, which works, but something wasn't right. I felt like I was failing. I wasn't good enough. I knew I could do more, but I wasn't, I wasn't hitting the goals I had set. I surrounded myself with some incredible people, because you are who you surround yourself with, and they were doing so much more. It almost caused me to feel like I was failing. And it led me on this personal development journey because I was miserable. And I woke up one day and was like, I'm making money now. I thought this was supposed to solve all my problems. I thought now all of a sudden everything was supposed to be perfect. And why am I hating my life and not happy and burned out and working 24/7? I had zero boundaries. So I joke that I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, so you don't have to, because it took years for me to figure out what was going on. And that led me to NLP. And that was kind of the game changer, where I realized nothing was wrong with me. I wasn't broken. I was out of alignment. I was not being true to my values and who I am. And I was in the wrong role. Selling real estate is not what I was called to this world to do with my life. It's a piece of the puzzle. I am so grateful for it. I still lead and run my team, but I actually stepped out of the sales side of it January 1st. So this is to really pursue this new business, like all in.
With NLP, share with everybody, it's neuro-linguistic programming. Share with them at a high level, what it is and how it has realigned your own life and your coaching practice.
So it's basically the language of our mind, our self-talk, the language that we are having in communication, we are having with ourselves, that sometimes we don't realize is running in the background. That voice in your head that, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? You aren't qualified enough for this. Like all those negative beliefs and doubts and fears, it's running kind of unconsciously without us even realizing it. And so for me, the awareness of, wait a second, this is normal, and those thoughts are not me. That's not who I am. And I actually have the power to change it. I have the power to reprogram and pick something that serves me in a better way. I had no idea. I just thought that's, it's who I am. And I don't understand why I keep replaying the same things over and over again. And I have like no control. That's not true. We all have control. We all have choices.
So I've done a lot of research, obviously. And like I said, you and I are completely aligned. And programming itself, to me, has 3 different stages. The conscious stage, where we're inputting just the daily exterior senses, what we see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. And those senses are very weak. They have short memories, and they're not exact. So we have to be very careful of what we're inputting into our system that then goes to these neural pathways that are formed through repetitive access of what I think is about 40,000 of the same thoughts that are programmed and that we can speak to through NLP. The one area that I would love to see your perspective on is that I believe that beyond the neural pathways that are formed, that signals are given to our quantum being that exist in our DNA, inherited. I know scientifically they'll say inherited from at least 4 generations, great-grandparents, grandparents, parents to us. But in my belief system, I believe it's multiple lifetimes, which makes it more complex because it's easy to see I have a risk of being an alcoholic because my dad, my grandfather, and great-grandpa were alcoholics. But, in the 15th century, I was an alcoholic. That's a little different and hard to distinguish. How does the neural pathways of the subconscious activate, whether through epigenetics or genetics themselves, activate the frequency that creates our true personality, our true characteristics, our true obsessions and addictions, which then to me is the beacon of energy that we need to shift? Because so many people that I coach are, Dave, I'm thinking and saying and doing all the things that you're telling me. I've read all your books. I've read all these people's books. I'm doing it all. And I keep attracting the exact same thing. I have like a thermostat that doesn't change its temperature. How do we affect that energy, that frequency that's inherent in us? Is it beyond NLP or is it inclusive in it?
I would say it's all a part of it because it really is your DNA at the deepest level. And I love that you went there because I don't think people realize that we have generational trauma. We have, whether it's you believe in past life or not, there are things that are kind of inherent in us. And it's questioning, why do I do what I do? Why do I keep repeating these patterns? And if you don't, I know it sounds cliche, but if you don't take the time to slow down and do the inner work and really figure out what these beliefs are that are running your life and wherever they came from, we think it just had to come from our childhood and our upbringing. And I find that sometimes it almost was calming to me to realize there's so much more than that. Like I'm taking on things that might be in my family lineage that has nothing to do with me in my life today, but I'm still living in fear and paranoid and, you know, all of these shame and guilt and all these negative emotions we just hold on to. So I think it is taking the time to dig and figure out what is, we call it like the greater problem. What is that belief that is so ingrained in you? It's usually, I don't feel like I'm good enough or I'm not worthy, wherever it came from, you growing up, someone telling you that, past life, whatever it may be. But I've been taught and learned that like we chose this life for a reason. We chose these experiences for a reason, whatever you believe in. And so it's a matter of really taking the time to get out of our own way, figure out the blocks, figure out what's really holding us back so you can live your true purpose and figure out what that really is, to realign and like live in your values, your beliefs, but they can be changed. You can release them. So to me, it's so much and it's all of it. But I've learned a technique called mental and emotional release. And it is going back to figure out what is the root, where did this root problem come from? Was it before, during, or after your birth? Whatever you believe in, it's like you're talking to your unconscious and answers just pop up. And it's such an amazing experience because you're like, oh, 5 lifetimes ago, like I don't know what that was or when that was, but that's the answer that came out, and that's where anger came from. Oh, like it's a different context than just why are you angry and why do I feel this way? And it's like we're human, we have emotions. It's just not holding on to that baggage and letting it control us.
It's so true. And I practice and teach the practice of ending fear by identifying what those ego-based consciousnesses are and stopping, dropping, and rolling to figure out where and how deep it goes. Because I think if not only we can identify that we have a need to be offended, but we know that the need to be offended has come from, like you said, 5 lifetimes ago, then we can understand the work that needs to be done. Because I think, you take something that's more mass like alcoholism, and, people say you can change a habit in 21 days. Then how come when people stop drinking for 21 days, they're not over alcoholism? Because there's a depth to the ego-based consciousness. There's a depth to the personality, the characteristics, obsessions, and addictions that go far beyond, even 4 generations, if you believe that. But even 4 generations is enough to tell you that there's a depth to what I'm doing. And I may want to shift my mindset and perspective and my efforts to progress, not perfection. And, that type of attitude and mindset and heart set has really helped facilitate great growth and expansion in so many different people, which I can see through your story and journey has absolutely worked for you. And I'm so glad and happy and inspired that you're inspiring other people with what we both have learned through this realignment. Where can people find you for more coaching and consulting in the realignment process, utilizing the things that you've learned to put to pragmatic practice in the real world to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun? Where can they best reach you?
I'd say Instagram at Melissa Mashat. Find me, DM me. And that's my whole thing. It's empowering you into action, right? If you don't take action, then what's the point? So to me, it's clear all that crap up so you can get out of your own way and make things happen. And yeah, well, I just appreciate this so much because I love these conversations. And
me too. Well, I love it. Another perfect M&M to join our M&M. So thank you so much. Make sure you reach out. You get it, and allow everyone to empower others with this great mythology of happiness and abundance. So thank you. I look forward to having more conversations with you.
I would love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Take care. All right. Another great M&M. Check her out, Melissa Mashat, and at Melissa Mashat. You can check her out. And it's melissamashat.com as well. Woo! We covered a lot of bases today. Team 33, the 33rd team, it's working. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's take a quick question before we have to go. I just love taking questions. Friday, we're training on vulnerability. And of course, if you email me, you can get everything on my podcast. The playbook, I just found out, is a 0.05% top podcast, whatever that means. But join us. The playbook, download it, share it, like it. We have great guests like Mike Tannenbaum, Ray Lewis, or if you like Deepak Chopra, they all have the same energy. Anyway, check it out, the playbook, download it, like it. What worries do you have trouble canceling? What that means, first of all, is I cancel the negative thoughts, clear my mind when they don't go away, and hopefully connect and shift my energy through mythologies like the neuro-linguistic programming and people like Melissa. But for me, the need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be separate, the need to be anxious, the need to be fearful, frustrated, those are needs that are hard to cancel. They keep coming back, especially if you do a lot of things for other people. You're going to have a need to be offended. I had one of my friends reach out and say, people just don't remember what I did for them. And that's okay. I relinquish all rights to what I do. You can take a quote on that, Team David Meltzer. I relinquish all rights to what I do, what I say, and what I believe, and what I give away. I relinquish all the rights to it. So there's no need to be offended. You can have it all and take with it what you want. All right. We did it. It is Wednesday. You can join me at office hours, 3 p.m. today with Mikey Diamond. It's Diamond and Dave at 3 p.m. on lives everywhere. And, of course, our trainings. All you got to do, you want books, guides, exercises, office hours, IG lives, playbooks, whatever you need. All you have to do is reach out. It's right here, david@dmeltzer.com. Join my text community, 949-298-2905. But regardless of whether you reach out or not to david@dmeltzer.com, regardless if you want books, guides, exercises, all for free, training for free. Most importantly, if you're going to walk away from today, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you to my wonderful guests. Have a great day. Bye-bye.